a.m. Miami Heat back on the hardwood tonight against the Cleveland Cavaliers at 7:30. You can, of course, hear that game right here on 560. Preheat with Alejandro Solana gets going at 6:15. You, of course, always can watch your games on Bally Sports Sun, and their coverage gets going today at 7 o'clock with their pregame show, and you will be, of course, be able to watch the coach right here, Ron Rothstein, on your halftime postgame coverage. Ron Rothstein joining us on the Toyota of Hollywood guest line. Shop over 1,500 Toyotas indoors in one of America's largest showrooms at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. Coach, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. We're good. First thing we wanted to ask you, Ron, early in the game against the Atlanta Hawks on Monday, like 4 minutes in, Eric Spoelstra had seen enough. Your team just gets off to a terrible start defensively. As a head coach, what goes into those moments where you're just like, right out of the gate, we need to regroup because I hate what I'm seeing here?
Frustration. You get frustrated real quick. You really do. And me, Spo's much better at it than I was. He keeps it relatively even keel. I would develop anger. He might develop anger. He doesn't show it. He's cool.
I mean, it has to. I mean, when is the quickest you've ever called a timeout? Because it's like Spo was looking onto the field like, guys, we literally talked about this 3 minutes ago. And how frustrating is it when, as a coach, I mean, I've had coaches yell at me that, hey, we just talked about this and you screwed it up a second later. How frustrating is that?
Well, your message is not getting across. They're listening, but they're not hearing.
Right.
It's like looking but not seeing. And as you know, as former players, if your mental approach slips just a little bit, you get to the major college football, you get to professional football, professional basketball, your margin of error is not very big. And, one of the biggest things, other than taking care of your body and being physically fit, is your mental approach, and that controls and drives a whole lot, as you know.
Ron, how do you like these like 2-game sets that has become more popular in the league? Like, I do imagine that Atlanta's going to come out with a haymaker after you just beat them just a couple of days ago. These are all very high stakes games. It's almost like little mini playoff series because you're jockeying for playoff standings. So how challenging do you think that is for Spo to not only, have to game plan for the same team back to back in the same situation, but also have your team have the same energy because we just handled these guys a couple days ago?
Well, you're right. It is sort of a playoff situation because human nature is the team that loses becomes a little bit more desperate and the team that wins becomes a little bit more complacent. And that's what you have in the playoffs. And the only thing that really overcomes that is superior talent. Over the course of 48 minutes, you have, in an NBA game with over 200 possessions, you have a lot of time to mentally gear yourself back up if you don't fall too far behind. And the way the game is played today with the 3-ball, what used to be a 10-point lead, the equivalent now is 20.
Right.
So if you look up, you say you got a 20-point lead. No, you don't. It's like having a 10-point lead. You see what happens in the fourth quarter. Some of these games, 18-point, 17, 15-point leads just wipe right out and teams losing. It's not a sprint, an NBA game, and the season is not a sprint. They're both marathons, and sometimes it takes you a little bit more focus to get yourself into and get your body going the way it's supposed to, and have you doing the things that are important to your team. The basketball is a game. You could probably say this about any other sport, but I think basketball is a game of moments. There's a lot of moments, and the more moments you don't miss, the better chance you have to win.
Coach, we got a really great game from Victor Oladipo last time out, who has had his moments this season, but after coming back from this most recent injury, was struggling a little bit. What did you like from what you saw from Vic? And do you think this is something that he can sustain? Because, just the skill set that he presents could be just such a big boost to them come playoff time.
Well, I have no way of knowing if he's going to be able to sustain this. We certainly hope so. Obviously, only time will tell. But the fact that he did perform that way is encouraging because he had been struggling a little bit. To see him step forward, I know for a fact how hard he's worked to get himself back into the rotation and get himself back into being able to physically perform. I think there were times where he tried to do some of the things he used to do, but he wasn't quite there yet. It takes a lot of game reps to get you really ready to be who you really are. And there's no set number. Everybody's different. And you don't know when it's going to happen. But it has to happen organically. What I like about it is the fact that he has put in so much time and so much effort and gone through the struggles. To see it evolve the other night to what it was is very encouraging. Hopefully he can sustain something like that. If he can, it's a major plus for us.
Coach, I hate to say it, but we all talk about the importance of the three-point shot. And is this team going to be able to move forward being so up and down shooting the three, or are they going to have some more consistency? And the last couple of games, it kind of looks like, they've shot the ball a lot better. But in order for them to have any success now and in the future, is this going to have to continue? Because I don't think they can win just making twos.
Well, let me put it to you this way. There isn't a team in the league that can win just making twos. And I'll tell you why. It's because the number of threes that are taken.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The low number per game. Let's say you have 100 possessions, roughly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Maybe a little bit more. Where you have the ball. Okay? It's one half of the court. And you're shooting at least 30, somewhere between 30 and 40 three-point attempts. At somewhere between 30 and 40% of your attempts at the basket come from three. You better shoot decent percentage. Now, if you're not going to shoot those and just stay inside the three and shoot 90%, well, can you win with twos and get into the foul line? I think so. But that's not the way the game is played.
Right.
Players are going to shoot threes. Teams are going to shoot threes. So if you want to be good, you better make your fair percentage. Now, the other thing that goes along with it is the number of times you get the ball into the paint and kick it out for an open three or a one more pass. In other words, penetrate, kick, and that guy swings it one more to a guy on the three-point line. Let's call the paint touch three or a spray or whatever you want, draw and kick, whatever you want to call it. The percentage of threes that are made is significantly higher than the number of threes taken when the ball does not touch the paint. Now, the last 5 games, even though we're only 2-3, but we did win the last 2, our three-point percentage off of paint touches has gone up considerably.
Mm-hmm.
There's an uptick. So that's really, really encouraging. Last year, we shot almost 38% from three. We were number 1 in the league. Our field goal percentage on threes from paint touches was 49.6%.
Jeez.
Do the math.
Right.
So you know how important it is. And I'll tell you what, our guys all year long have done a great job of getting the ball into the paint. We have missed so many open, good looks that we made last year. Maybe it's starting to come around now.
Coach,
Let's see.
Coach, how hard do you think that struggle has been? Not only for Spo, because you got to always rely on your players and keep the confidence in them because Max, Gabe, Tyler, they're all good shooters. But also, Jimmy and Bam, who are like a lot of the catalysts, that stuff in the paint. Like, how hard is it for your star guys to trust their shooters and dispo, even though you get to this far of the season and you feel like you're executing the play well, but the shots just don't go down?
It's difficult, but sometimes life isn't easy. You gotta go through the hard times. You got to work your way through it. You got to find a way to make it work. Give it your best shot. There's no magic pills. There's no magic wands. You have to trust your work. You have to trust your habits. Because if you don't, what are you relying on? What are you going to lean back on? What do you have?
Your hard work? I don't know. What is the thing you have, Leroy?
There's nothing.
Yeah,
like if you've put in time and work to get to a certain point and you get there and it doesn't work, you just got to keep going. Keep doing it. Like this team knows they have shooters. They know they can shoot. We've seen them shoot the ball. And like, Coach, you think sometimes they get a little hesitant because they haven't had success shooting it?
No. I think sometimes we pull the trigger a little too quick. But that's easy for me to say.
Right.
I'm not a dumb coach anymore. I'm a really smart guy in the broadcast. I got all the answers. I haven't lost a game, and I'm undefeated in 9 years.
Coach, what has been the thing? 35 years has done a lot of great reminiscing. I love the Andy Ellisberg inside the Heat, but like looking back, that's a it's a long run now as a franchise. What has been the thing you've loved the most about this year? Getting to reminisce a little bit to you guys starting this whole thing up.
Well, I got a chance to film those little vignettes, each of the 15 wins. I don't know if you've seen them.
I have. I've enjoyed them.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, I got a chance to do that, and I was actually going to do it in two different sittings. But when I sat down and started, we knocked out all 15 in one day in about 3 or 4 hours. But I just enjoyed what was going on, reminiscing, because there were so many losses. The wins were so enjoyable. I wanted to go back and enjoy those moments. But it was, it's been a great run. This is a great franchise. It's a franchise that a lot of teams in the league have tried to copy, and they've set a standard of excellence. It's highly unusual to have one family who's owned the team the whole time.
Right.
That's the Allison family. And, they have a guy like Pat running the show 25 plus years. That's also, that's unprecedented. You don't see that. So there's a reason why this franchise has had such stability. And, there's 7 of us here from day one. 6 of them never left. I left for 8 years, 9 years, or whatever it was. But I was fortunate enough to be able to come back. And it's a special place. It's a special organization. No one's perfect. You do the best you can. You make mistakes. You try and correct them.
We appreciate the time, Ron Rothstein. You guys can catch Ron tonight on Bally Sports Sun. Heat and Cavaliers tonight, 7:30. Their coverage gets going at 7 o'clock. We always appreciate the time, Coach. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Coach.
Great talking to you guys. Take care.